welcome. My name is Tim. I'm the pastor here. If this is your first time with us, you are an honored guest. If you're watching online for the first time, will you just text "watching" to 31996. We have like to get in touch with you, have a free gift we would love to give you. So we're in our series, The Good Life, and we're going through Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And he starts this sermon with the beatitudes or the blessings, where he's given us a vision of what life looks like for those who live in the kingdom of heaven. See, Jesus is going to show us the difference between what we believe the blessed life is, and he's going to compare that to what it really means to be blessed. So I just want to recap so far what we've covered, because it's going to tie into what we're going to talk about today. So week 1, Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." That the starting point to experience the good life is brokenness. That is a radical shift in how we think and what it means to be blessed. Because a lot of times we think blessings is what we have, what we acquire, things that are external. But Jesus said, no, the starting point to experience true blessing in the happy life is brokenness. And then week 2, Jesus said, "Blessed are those who mourn." He says the reason you're blessed because there's coming a day when you will be comforted. And then week 3 was "Blessed are the meek." That meekness has power to not only transform our lives, but the world around us. And last week I thought Randy did a great job talking about blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. That our righteousness is not in and of ourselves, that we can't do anything to get that, to live that out, but actually it is a gift from Jesus. That pursuing Him is where we find satisfaction. So growing up, has anybody played the game Mercy? You know what I'm talking about? This is typically a guy game, and for one big reason, because it's dumb. And women are honestly too smart to play this game. But here's the description that Wikipedia give for the game Mercy. Mercy is a game of strength, skill, endurance, and pain tolerance. Popular in Britain, Canada, Pakistan, India, United States, and elsewhere. The game is played by 2 people who grasp each other's hands, interlocking fingers. Man, they make this sound so much better than what it is. This game was terrible. They make it sound like a game of honor, but it's horrible. Like, I was horrible at this game. My record was like 2 wins and 153 losses. The object of this game is to try to break the other person's fingers to make them scream out mercy. Again, total dude game, because later you're too smart to play this. See, again, Jesus is going to challenge us not only how we think about mercy, but most importantly, how we apply it. See, starting here in this beatitude, Jesus is going to move us into action. So if you have your Bibles, you can join me. We're going to Matthew chapter 5, verse 7 today. "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy." Now, typically when we think about mercy, it's kind of the standard definition, and it's compassion and forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. So we look at mercy like letting someone in front of us in a parking lot when we're trying to get ourselves out of the ball game. And you see this vehicle trying to just inch its way into the lane. You think, "Oh no, not today, pal. I don't know who you think you are, but you're not going to pull that in front of me. You ain't going to flex on me in this parking lot." And then you notice that it's somebody that you kind of know or someone older, so you go ahead and motion them on out. And then you feel good about yourself, but everything in you up to that point, you're going to be willing to ram them. Do you let them go in front of you? Or your kids show you mercy in video games. Like in Call of Duty or NBA 2K, and your go-to line is, all right, if we had Mario Kart, then you get yours, you little punk. All right, just me, huh? So it's like that today. You'll leave me on an island. Jesus is going to change how we think about mercy. He's going to take mercy and being merciful away from something that we simply do, and he's going to make it about who we should be. Are you with me here? Jesus wants us to see that being merciful actually is a way of life. It's part of who we are as His followers. See, being mercy is enduring our own pain and struggles, but it's also being there for someone else who's struggling too. We need people like this more than any other time. This is who we need to be. See, those who embrace and are self-aware of their own struggle, those who recognize their own brokenness, will extend grace and forgiveness to others. because we know we can stumble, because we know that we can fail. And it allows us to have mercy and grace and compassion when other people fail too. It's saying more than, listen, I simply forgive you. Mercy says, hey, let me help you. Let me help pick you up. Let me give you a shoulder to lean on. Let me just be there to listen if that's what you need. Mercy involves us being generous and forgiving and having compassion. And it's those three things that will make the church stand out in a very chaotic, a very hostile, and a very divided world. So I encourage us, that us as Summit Community Church, that this is the people that we strive to be. That this is the church that we want to be. Because this kind of church can make a difference if we do these things. Now here's the biggest thing about being merciful. How we treat other people will show how your relationship with Jesus truly is. Not what you say, not what you share, not what you post online. How you treat people will show how close you are to Him or how far you are away from Him. See, mercy has a purpose, and that purpose is to pass it on to others. It's in this, how we treat other people, that will make the greatest impact in our city, in our community, and in our region. That have genuine concern and empathy and respect and a willingness to serve. That will stand out in our culture like nothing else, because it's the complete opposite of the direction our culture is going. Because right now, culture is about me. It's about what I want mine. It's about my party, my tribe, my political affiliation. This is saying, no, it's much bigger than me. It is about us. But this beatitude has a direct effect when we apply it. It's the only one that Jesus says that will. Jesus says, listen, when we are merciful, we will receive mercy. Not just from other people, but receive mercy from God. Now, if we go back and look at the definition of mercy again, it's compassion and forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. This has an entirely new meaning because all of a sudden God enters the picture. See, because what we want from God, every one of us, we want mercy, not justice from Him. And Jesus is saying, listen, that you should live a life of mercy, you should desire a life of mercy, not for you, but for someone else. That is a radical shift to how we think. Today is the most difficult of all the Beatitudes. What we're talking about being merciful, that we should be generous, that we should forgive, that we should have compassion. And these are all things that we know we should do, and we do them at times, but there's this disconnect because we don't make it about who we are. We just look at it as something that we do. And the thought is, all right, yeah, I know Jesus forgive me, and I know I need to forgive somebody else. Yeah. And so when we do those good things, we extend a little grace to somebody, we can pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, I did something good today. But Jesus is not going to let us off the hook with that. He's saying, listen, this is who I want you to be. This is the life that you live. This is not something that you simply do. You need to be these kind of people that lives a life of mercy. And living a life of mercy is difficult because it's going to take everything that we've talked about so far to apply that in our lives for us to be able to pull this one off. We're talking about being poor in spirit. To realize that every one of us were broken. In some form or fashion, that we're all broken. And it's that brokenness is the starting point for us to experience the good life. So I have issues, all right? I am jacked up. I'll just lay my cards on the table. So are you. It's like we're one big, happy, dysfunctional family. We had grace because I'm jacked up, you're jacked up. And on those who mourn, this is universal, mourning, because you either are mourning, you have, or you will. And it may be the reason why some people act the way that they do. That person you think is just bitter and just hateful, what if they're mourning? What if there's hurt going on in their life? What if they've lost someone? They don't know how to process that. See, when we understand and we think like this, that somebody else could be in mourning. That could be why they act the way they do if they lashed out in a certain way. So I only extend mercy. Why? Because they're hurting. Why? Because I know I hurt. And because I hurt, I know somebody else hurts too. And then being me, that we live a life of humility. And what that says is, listen, God, I want your will in my life more than I want my own. And the humility part comes in with realizing, hey, I'm not as good as I think I am. I'm not as put together as I think that I am. And then hunger and thirst for God, that he alone is able to satisfy us at the soul level. It's when we pursue him that he says he'll meet us. Not perfection, to live perfect that he'll meet us and satisfy us, but it's in the process of pursuing him. We're going to talk a lot about that next week. But God said, listen, if you pursue me, then I will meet you, which means that the Christian life is about progress, not perfection. Now, here's the beautiful thing about progress. It comes in all forms. There's moments when you're taking these giant strides and you're just killing life. I mean, you and Jesus are like that. And then there's moments all of a sudden you're stumbling and you're tripping. And then there's moments when you follow him where it's a belly crawl. It's progress. Either way you look at it. And that's what he's after. Sometimes it's going to be big, sometimes it's going to be fast, sometimes it's going to be amazing, and sometimes it is a small crawl, but it is progress. That's what he's after, not perfection. Progress. So when we take an honest look at our lives, and that we realize outside of Jesus' love for us, outside of his grace for us, outside of his forgiveness, that we have nothing. That I have no righteousness of myself. I can't do anything to earn that righteousness. I can't do anything that really fixes me at the soul level of the brokenness I have. The wounds that I have when I hurt and in pain, I can't fix that myself. I can't find satisfaction in other things at the soul level. Here's the beautiful thing about the cross. It's level ground at the cross, which means I can't hold things over your head and say, hey, look what you're doing and look how good I am. This is what I'm doing. You're not doing it. I'm better than you, and it's vice versa. You can't look at me and say, hey, I can't believe you're doing that. Look what I'm doing. No, you can't do that because at the cross, it is level. That every one of us, our desperate need, the biggest need we have is to be forgiven of our sins. That is wildly unpopular to talk about sins, but you have to because it is our biggest need. So Jesus, being loving, steps into our reality. I love John 3:17. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. That the greatest need in our life is forgiveness, so that you and I can have a right standing relationship with a holy God. And Jesus gives us this with his life, with the death, and the resurrection. So since he forgave us, we should do the same. If you take notes, write this down. Forgiven people should always forgive people. Disclaimer. This is something that's really easy for me to get up here and say. It is an entirely different thing to actually put this one into action. Again, this is going to be the hardest thing that we're going to face in this series, is this one. Because you and I do not have this in and of us to let this go. Because here's the thought process when you hear this. All right, forgiving people should forgive people. Man, that sounds good. Let's tweet that. Let's put it on Facebook. Then all of a sudden, everybody in the back of their mind says, but you don't know what they said to me. But you don't know what they did to me. But you have no idea what's going on in my life. And you are exactly right. I don't. So this is why we press into Jesus with all we have. This is why we pray to Jesus, because this is a Holy Spirit thing. To work in and of our hearts, to change us, to transform us. It is his power alone. One of my biggest struggles in life is this, being merciful. And here's the worst part about it. It affects my family more than it does you and other people I know. The ones that I am the closest to are the ones that I'm the harshest with. Thank God forever that he does not work this way. I just want to be honest with you in this moment, be transparent. This is the biggest struggle that I have, to be graceful to the ones that I love the most. And with my testimony, that should drive me for a life of mercy when you live the active addiction life and you've done everything that I've done. That I've hurt the ones I love, that I've robbed, cheated, manipulated, stolen the ones that I love the most. That's a lie. Let me rephrase that. Because I didn't love them. I love dope more. So I did these things to the ones who love me the most. When you start thinking like that, that'll change you. Because all of a sudden, you're not as great as you thought you were. It's really easy to build yourself up. But now if you're honest, it doesn't. See, when you show mercy, it's worth it because Jesus says, listen, when you show mercy, I'm going to show it to you. Here's the great thing about extending mercy to other people. When you extend mercy to other people, you'll always point back to Jesus on the cross. How and why did you forgive them for what they said about you? Because Jesus forgave me. How did you forgive him after what he did to you? Because Jesus forgave me. It may sound like a real simple reply, but it's the greatest answer in your life if you actually apply it because it's true. Now, we've talked about extending mercy and we've talked about forgiveness and being people of compassion, but I want to spend the rest of our time focused on you. You here, you watching online. See, we need to not only extend mercy, but we need to be merciful to ourselves. And it begins by walking free in the grace that Jesus has given us on the cross. And here's why this is so important. You can't talk about something without having to experience it or without currently or previously experienced it. You can't talk about forgiveness. You can't talk about grace if you're not walking in, if you're not breathing it. Because here's what will happen when you begin to talk about it. You'll be exposed as a fraud. Because you have no idea what you're talking about. And what people want more than anything else in this time is something genuine. People are looking for the real thing. People are looking for something that's going to give them purpose, that's going to give them peace, that's going to provide joy for them. You can't talk about these things if you're not walking in it, if you're experiencing it. You just can't. Two things happen when we don't live in the grace that Jesus gives us on the cross. The first one is you turn self-righteous. We try to help Jesus. We try to earn our grace. We try to work for it because surely there's more that I need to do. I need to read my Bible more. I need to read a few more chapters every day. I need to pray a lot longer, and I need to turn into church events. That's what I need to do. See, I need to help Jesus forgive me because his finished work on the cross is not enough for me. It's like this weird reverse pride that we have. That we're so terrible, that we're so bad, that we're so special, that I had to help Jesus forgive me because Jesus isn't enough. And this happens all the time. And the problem with this is it builds pride. And it builds self-righteousness. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start comparing yourself to other people. And so, since they don't do what you do, they don't love God like you do. Since they don't do what you do, they're not committed to God, they don't love God, then all of a sudden, you start setting the bar really high for other people while yet you drop the bar for you. And we slowly turn into the very thing that Jesus hates. That's self-righteousness. If you look at the Gospels, all of them, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, who Jesus attacked aggressively over and over, the Pharisees, for this very thing. This outward appearance of righteousness, just coming down on other people, putting burdens to other people to follow these man-made laws of Jesus. And Jesus said, listen, I know who you really are. Now, you look good on the outside, but your heart's far from me. You are cold, and you have no idea who I am. This is who Jesus attacks, not those who are broken and far from him. There is nothing but grace to draw people in, but he attacks self-righteousness. Living a life of self-righteousness will always, always, always leave you angry. Because you're trying to earn something that Jesus wants to give you, and you will never arrive. And you will never experience freedom. You will never experience peace. You will never experience joy. And you will become a horrible witness for Jesus Christ. Because why would somebody want to go to church who acts like that? The most damage that the church has ever took is from the church. Because we haven't lived a life of mercy that Jesus has called us to. The second thing that happens when we don't walk in the grace that Jesus gives us, you'll completely walk away from Jesus because you don't believe he works for you. And you'll begin to listen to other voices, and you'll listen to the voice of condemnation, and you'll be more influenced by the culture around you than you are Jesus. And then here's what every one of us do. We search for meaning in something. We search for peace in something. We search for joy in something. And then you end up being controlled by something else. And it doesn't always have to be the worst of the worst. It doesn't have to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But it could be porn. But it could be lust. You could be controlled by anger. You can be controlled by the constant need of approval. That what somebody says about you online, your likes, your shares, it could be all about money, it could be all about career. You can put it all in family. But something's going to be the driving force of your life. And when that happens, it makes you a prisoner. And it might take you some time to get to this point, but you'll get there. Something will be the driving force of your life. And when something is a driving force of your life other than Jesus Christ, you put a burden on people that they will never, ever be able to do or lift. And you will crush them under the expectations that you have. Because nothing's going to satisfy you at the soul level. Jesus will. It goes against everything that we know to accept the fact that Jesus loves us as we are. It is that he loves us in our dysfunction, that he loves us in our lies, that he loves us in our hypocrisy and junk. Because that was the state that you and I were in when he went to the cross. I say this all the time because we need to hear it all the time. He loved you and went to the cross in your place while we were at our worst, not our fake pretend best. Not how you present yourself online, not how you present yourself in public. Did you want people to believe that you are? No, he went for the real you when it's just you by yourself in your own thoughts. Those things that you did that you hope no one finds out about. Those things that you said you hope no one finds out about. Those things that you think because you hope no one finds out, because if they do, they will look at you differently. And this is exactly who Jesus went to the cross for. You at your worst. The very core of who you are, this is who he loves. So we walk by his grace, and we walk by the power of his finished work. And we just have to accept it, and we just have to keep walking toward Jesus. See, when I do that, and I know that I have grace, and I know that I am forgiven, that Jesus gives me this, then I can give that to other people. And that is how we make a difference in our city. That's how we make a difference in our county and in our region. Is we not only walk in grace, but we extend it. So let me ask you, who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to forgive today? Because he'll trap you. He'll bog you down. Who do you need to forgive? Do you need to forgive you, maybe? One of the greatest pictures of mercy is Jesus and Peter. And we hear it so often that it loses its weight on us. That before Jesus is arrested, he says, listen, talks to the disciples, guys, all, you're going to leave me. All of you. Peter goes, nah, not me, Lord. All these other bums, they might do it, but not me. I'm in. And Jesus says, no, I'll tell you exactly how in you are, Peter. You're going to deny that you actually know me on 3 occasions. And I love Peter's boldness and surety in himself. If I got to die with you, I'm going to die with you. Lo and behold, when God talks, you need to listen because he knows. Right on cue. 3rd time, Peter denies. And then in Luke 22, it says Jesus locks eyes with him. At that very moment, what Peter swore that he wouldn't do, he did. And not only that, you got the shame and the guilt that Jesus stares you eye to eye. Your best friend on earth, who you didn't even know him, looks at you. And then Peter just bails. We don't hear about Peter at all at the crucifixion. But then we get to John 21, and then all of a sudden, here's Jesus again. And he's grabbing, and he's having breakfast with Peter, and he reinstates him on the spot. The mercy he has for you. So if you've run, you cannot run his love. If you've done horrible things, this is coming from someone who's done horrible things. His grace, regardless of what you've done, his love and grace covers it. You can't outrun him. You can't out-sin him. Mercy. Oh, how much you love today. If you could grab a hold of that, that would change your life. It really will. It'll change our church. It'll change our city, our county, and our region. Love, mercy, grace. Who do you need to forgive? If it's you, now's your time. Because when Jesus went to the cross in your place, it's your past sins, it's your current sins, the ones you haven't committed yet in the future, but you will, they're all covered. just got to let it go today. Or maybe what you need is forgiveness for the very first time. And that can be yours today. That you can begin a relationship with Jesus Christ. And I want to give you that opportunity. I want to give you the opportunity here. I want to give you the opportunity watching online. And I just invite you to say this prayer. Now, this is not magic words, but this may help verbalize what God is doing in your heart. And it is to simply say, Jesus, forgive me of my sins and save me. Did you just say that today? And if you did and you're watching this online, you can text FOLLOW to 31996, or you can make a comment on the live feed down below. One of our team members will follow up with you. We would like to do life with you if you'd let us. Every head bowed and eye closed for a second. Again, the question on the table, who do you need to forgive? Or who do you need to go and ask forgiveness from? I just want to encourage you in that moment to experience freedom, to walk in the peace and grace that's been provided for you with the cross. And if you need to forgive yourself, then today is the day to go ahead and let go. And if you want to begin a relationship with Jesus, the opportunity is here for you today. And it's the same thing. I just invite you to say this. Again, it is not magic words, but it may help verbalize what God's doing in you. And it's simply say, Jesus, forgive me my sins. Save me. And help me live for you the very best that I can from this day forward. Did you just say that prayer? Because if you did, you made the greatest decision of your life. I just want to count to 3, and I just invite you to put your hand up. No one's looking around. 1, 2, 3. Is that you today? Everybody look at me. Because I will encourage us as a church that we be a church filled with mercy. It's who we are, because that allows us to make change in our city, in our county and region. That's why God has us here, to make a change for His glory, not for us at all, but for Him. And being able to let go and forgive starts that. Steve got a hand today for what he done. Guys, appreciate y'all so much for coming. Again, we don't take this for granted at all. Thank you. On your way out, if you'd like, you can give. We got our offering box at the end of the building on your way out. Next week, all right, bring somebody, all right, or invite somebody online. This series is going to be good for our church. And my prayer is that we will be changed by it, that it would deepen our faith in Him and deepen our resolve to want to make a change in our community, because it'll happen, all right? Guys, love you all. Appreciate you more than you know. Have an awesome, awesome Labor Day weekend, all right? Load up on carbs, have no regrets, eat bad food, and enjoy it, all right? And we'll see you next Sunday. See y'all.
Hi guys, thank you again for joining us this morning. We hope that you received a blessing. Please remember to like and share with all of your friends and family. And if you would like to give and support this ministry, you can download our app or go online to www.summitky.org and choose Summit Whitesburg. Again, thank you for watching, and God bless.